Magazine, and I am thrilled to welcome you to this very special opportunity, a private conversation with one of history's most iconic figures in the personal development industry and leading thought leaders of our day, Mr. Jim Rohn. Over the last 40 years, Jim has influenced the lives of over 4 million people who have attended one of his 6,000 lectures or workshops delivered in over 40 countries worldwide. Then there are the countless millions more who have heard, watched, or read one of his 17 best-selling books, CDs, and DVD programs. Mr. Jim Rohn, welcome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Jim, let me first say that this is an extra special privilege for me, as besides my own father, no one has influenced my life and my success more than you. While we have only shared a couple of meals together in times past, we've spent hundreds of hours together as I listened to your audio programs while driving around for over 15 years. In fact, by way of testimonial, 1994 was my personal development pivotal moment. I got a copy of your program called Challenge to Succeed. Within 4 years of hearing that program, at age 27, I too was a self-made millionaire. And truly, it was that program that started the spark in my continued study of your principles that fanned the flame to make that and everything else since possible. If I've said it before, I will say it again. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You know, no matter whatever field you're in, if you're helping other people with ideas or whatever the work may be, one of the greatest experiences is what I've just had, is when your name appears in somebody's testimonial. Right? When somebody says, here's the man, or here's the person who found me, here's the person who got me started, here's the person who wouldn't let me quit, here's the person who gave me more reasons to stay than to leave, here's the person who believed in me until I could believe in myself, and then they mention your name. That's called big time. So I appreciate it one more time.
Well, Mr. Rohn, I know at age 27 you met your mentor, and 4 years later you too were a self-made millionaire, and oddly enough, it was you that I've deemed that mentor. 4 years later, repeated that story, and so that has been the beginning of what has become my life since. So I am truly grateful for your investment in my success.
Well, I appreciate that, and what's exciting for me is for all of this to be ongoing.
Yeah.
Still affecting people's lives best as I can, sharing ideas.
You know, one of the reasons why I like your philosophy so much, Jim, is that they are simple and fundamental principles, nothing eccentric, complicated, or, well, goofy, which seems to sometimes be out there. If someone truly wants to focus on a half a dozen principles of success that would turn their life around, what would you say those would be?
Number one, become a good student. I'll be mentioning in a seminar today. Be a student of the obvious. You know, it's obvious people have done extremely well from even coming from extremely poor circumstances. It's obvious that people have, on occasion, turned their life around in dramatic fashion. And if you're a student of all of that, sure enough, it can affect you and affect your life. And then be a careful observer. See what's happening around you, the people that do well, what do they do, the people that fall out of the sky, what happened to them, what caused it. So be a student of what's happening in life, be a student of what's happening in people's lives, everything around you, and be willing to learn, and just commit yourself to learning is a lifetime experience, all of your life.
Yeah, it's one of the things that you've taught from early on is to be a consummate learner and a student of good ideas and philosophies and good books and lectures and workshops and the opera and the symphony, and I have adopted that in my own life. And
yeah, that's what I was talking.
Appreciate it.
Build your library, expose yourself to, good ideas, philosophies, and, culture and all of the rest. And become a good, well-rounded, growing, learning, producing individual.
So, Mr. Rohn, since we are here at the inaugural relaunch of Success Magazine, we are going to be constantly asking the question is, how do we help people become more successful? And so, the thing that we want to answer is there seems to be just unlimited opportunity that we have here in North America, and there's endless testimonials of others that have done it, that have come from nothing and created great fortunes. But I asked the question, why do you think most people don't succeed who wish to? What are the couple of reasons why some people find themselves limited in terms of the success that they reach?
Sometimes it's not being personally limited, it's just being pulled back by things that cause you to settle for where you are and say, well, this is really not too bad. You know, why should I try to conquer the world when, you know, I'm doing okay? My kids are doing okay. Should I take on enterprises that, you know, stretch me and pull me away and make me sort of reorder my priorities? It's always a contest, right, to do it or not to do it. But sometimes you can make it almost a moral question. If you could do better, should you? It's not a bad question to ask. If I could do better, should I? If I could read more, should I read more? If I could try more, should I try more? If I could expand my business and help more people, make my enterprise more successful, should I do that? And there's always the contest of how far to go and how much to do. And because reordering, you know, your time priorities and your energy priorities is always a challenge. If you've got one little successful business going, should you double it? Should you triple it? Right? Mm-hmm. There was once only one Starbucks, right? Now how many? Everywhere I go around the world, there's Starbucks everywhere, right. McDonald's everywhere. So for some people, I think that's their thing, right? Conquering the world and seeing how far you can go and how far you can reach, how many countries you can do business in. But even home locally, whatever you're doing, expanding it and being able to take care of it, not let expansion, you know, absorb all of your time or take away time that you should be devoting to other things in your life and your business and your friendships and your family. It is a never-ending challenge. Mm-hmm. Priorities and reordering priorities in your life. Yeah. Because we all look back and say, wow, on that, I spent too much time and too much money. Mm-hmm. If I would have only known 3 years ago it was going to cost me this much time and this much money, I wouldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. So we look back and get some advice as to not, you know, plunge off into something that might do that again. So it's never ending. It's almost daily, at least weekly, monthly at least, to take some private time and ask yourself if your priorities are in order.
Right. So, you know, the other thing we know, Jim, is that success is not possible without failure, right? I mean, Watson of IBM said, if you want to increase your success, double your rate of failure. So, you know, with that, have there been a couple of mistakes or failures in your life personally, and what have those been, and how did they make you better?
Yeah, I signed a note for $250,000 once up in Canada. A company needed to borrow the money, and they needed my signature, and I knew they could pay it back, no problem. So I signed, and sure enough, they paid it all back. So I'm a hero. Yeah. Then I left, I think, and moved back to California, Beverly Hills. And in my absence, that company had went back to the bank again and borrowed this $250,000, and I heard about it, and I thought, well, I hope they don't call me because I'm not going to sign this time. I don't think they'll make it this time. And they never called. So then I heard that sure enough they didn't make it. Then I get a letter from the bank saying, dear Mr. Rohn, since we have here your personal guarantee, would you please send us a check for $250,000? And I said, hey, you know, I signed the first one. They paid it all back. They never asked me to sign again. What I didn't realize I had signed in the beginning was a continuing guarantee. Mm-hmm. So now I had the privilege to learn what the word continuing means.
Right. Yeah, right.
And that was just, fortunately, that was just a money mistake, right? So I had to, you know, make up for that. But some things you learn the hard way, and some things were rather costly, but you know, you just turn it around and go back to work, and you know, put it together again if you have to. So I was given this unique challenge when I first met my mentor, Mr. Earl Shelf. He said, "Why don't you set your goal to become a millionaire?" I thought, well, that's nice. Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it. Yeah. And then he added, "For what it will make of you to achieve it." And it was a whole different kind of refinement of philosophy that really got me. And he said, it's not getting the million that's important. It's what it makes of you to achieve becoming a millionaire. He said, then when you finally become a millionaire, you could give the money away, because what's valuable is not what you got, but what you became in the process.
Exactly. Yes.
So I've got two ideas on that. One is look what you can become in pursuit of what you want. And then the other is look out for what you become in the pursuit of what you want.
Exactly. Yes.
Don't compromise. Don't give up on your principles. And always try to do the right thing. Although sometimes what seems to be right, we do it, and it turned out that we were just a little bit off center in our thinking at the moment. But that can all be changed. Everything can be changed, revitalized, reorganized. You know, I've been through it in the 77 years a lot of times.
Jim, you know, one of the other endeavors our organization is up to is what is called the Success Foundation, where we're trying to inspire tomorrow's achievers. And knowing firsthand the tremendous impact getting exposed to this type of information at a young age can have, the Success Foundation's mission is to distribute personal development material to 10 million teenagers by 2010 who might not otherwise have access to this life-changing content. You too have devoted much of your training to the personal development and practices of teenagers. What, in your opinion, are a few of the most important philosophies parents should help foster with their children at a young age?
One of the best ways to teach even personal development is economics. On my seminar today, I'll draw a little chart. It says in America, economics starts at $5 an hour and goes way on up. Top income last year, I think, 32 million. So we call it a heck of a ladder.
Yeah.
From $5 an hour up to 32 million for 1 year's work. But the key to earning more money is to become more valuable. And that's part of the key, is to develop multiple skills. And these days it'd be a good idea to learn more than one language and just become more and more valuable to the marketplace. That's how you get paid. So the key is not just to work to get a paycheck, but it's to work for your own personal development, so that if you become twice as valuable, chances are excellent you'll make twice as much money. If you become 10 times more valuable than you were, 1, 2, 3, 4 years ago, you can make 10 times the money. I looked back just the other day and found out, sure enough, my mentor was right. It would be possible to multiply my income someday by 10. Then after I multiplied it by 10, to multiply it by 10 again. And as I looked at my income over these last years, that formula really did happen for me. It's amazing. But it takes a look at where you are, and especially for kids, a good money management is a good place to start. Don't spend more than 70%, and 10 cents for charity and church, 10 cents for active capital, 10 cents for passive capital. Just some little program on setting goals, money management, personal development, reading a couple of books a week, whatever. Some, setup of programs that will help them in the achievement, not just getting good grades in school, but their personal development as well. Because self-education is the process that really counts. Formal education gets you a job, but self-education gets you rich.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we hope to provide the resource for with Success Magazine is this, monthly delivery of new ideas, new inspiration, tips and tactics from the achievers of our modern day society that you can implement into your own life, into your own business, and your own relationships, and define success on a more holistic level, not just financial accumulation, but relationships.
I started with economics. I'm 25 years old, and I hear the philosophy, profits are better than wages. I could have learned it at 15. But it just, no one brought it to me until I was 25 years old. Profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living, which is fine. Profits make you a fortune, which is super fine.
Yeah.
And then I learned, starting at age 25, that I could work on projects that brought me both wages and profits. And then pretty soon, I dropped the working for wages and concentrated just on working for profits. Those little refinements of philosophy, right? Formal education gets you a job. Self-education gets you rich.
Right.
And then work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. I picked up on those little gems of philosophy because it totally reorders your direction. The next 5 years, you're going to be going somewhere. And the question is where? And where will you arrive in 5 years in terms of intelligence, awareness, what you know, what you do, what you accomplish? Because you can either go left or right or north or south, but which direction you go in the next 5 years makes all the difference in the world in where you arrive. If you don't kid yourself and say, it looks like if I keep going this way, in 5 years I'm going to wind up here. Do I have to be satisfied with that? And the answer is no. You say, could I pick a different arrival place 5 years from now? And instead of spending the next 5 years going this way, which it looks like I'm going now, could I reorder my direction and in 5 years wind up here instead of here, and maybe the value of my life multiplied by 10?
Yeah.
And the answer is, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And that's what learning is all about, to spark you into thinking that it's possible to do a little better today than you did yesterday, a lot better this month than you did last month. And you could make incredibly accelerated progress this year over last year.
So people will hear this audio and hear these tremendous philosophies and the success that you've had as an individual and will be awe-inspired. But if people don't know your story, would you just, for a moment, just talk about your beginnings, where you came from? Because I think as a living testimony to that it is possible, you are that exceptional story in yourself.
I was raised in southwest Idaho, where I went to school and graduated in 1949, high school, farm country, and lived a fairly normal life. Quit school at age 19, unfortunately. My reasoning was, I'm smart enough to get a job, how much smarter do I need to be? So with that limited philosophy, I quit school, got a job, a little while later got married, started my family, and, struggling, working hard, doing my best, falling a little behind, seemed like every month. Finally, age 25, I meet this extraordinary man, had a chance to go to work for him, and his philosophies over the next 5 years greatly altered the course of my life, especially my economic life, which affected, of course, everything else. And it just was one of those extraordinary things. I was not on the search. Maybe I was and didn't really recognize it, because very quickly I thought, wow, this man is right. I could make better choices on my financial plan, my educational plan, and even my work plan than I have done the last 5 years since I quit school. And he told me that if I did that, the next 5 years would be dramatically different than the last 5.
Yeah.
And that started changing my life. And then right away, I think what really helped was I started passing along and doing a little bit of teaching and training on what I had learned, even during that, 5-6 years that I was with my mentor. So I think that was helpful, not only learning it and doing it, but starting the process of teaching. And that was like 55 years ago.
Again, the interesting thing about our two stories is that you met and worked with your mentor, physically on a regular basis. And Mr. Rohn, you're my mentor, but we've worked together in drive time on audio and now CD and DVD tapes. And so somebody truly can find their mentor without having to happen upon somebody who takes them under their wing in good graces.
And now sometimes mentorship is really sort of a whole variety. Somebody mentors you in good health, somebody mentors you in philosophy or religion, somebody mentors you in learning skills or enterprise, entrepreneurship, whatever. So I just happened to find one that had so many of those qualities in one package. It was extraordinary.
Yeah. But it could be in the form of CD, DVD, seminar, book.
Right.
Just the influences of good ideas and experts who have been there and have done that and have good things to share.
Even back then, I'm 25 years old, and he said, start your library. And he said, read, think, and grow rich. And he said, you got to get this big I think, what do they call them, big 78s?
Right. Yeah.
Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. I wore out about 3 of those, listening to it over and over again. And that was part of my education. Age 25, which was a lot of years ago, listening to The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And then later, fortunately, had a chance to meet him. His company produced some of my materials and had a chance to lecture with him on a lot of occasions before he died.
Yeah.
An extraordinary adventure for me.
Your recording of his Strangest Secret sounds like my recording of Challenge to Succeed, which I probably personally heard 50, 60 times. So I know the process.
That's part of it. Zig Ziglar once said, and I think it's good, turn your car into a mobile classroom.
Yeah.
Right? Why not use those minutes? You know, yes, you're going to listen to a little music and whatever, get the news, but why not use part of it as part of your training program, whether it's learning another language or just keeping up on the stuff that, if it inspired you once, it'll inspire you again.
So, is there anything else you still have yet to accomplish that you haven't, that you're setting out to do?
Well, just keep doing what I'm doing. I probably should, write more books, but I'm so busy traveling and taking care of family and other responsibilities that it's just difficult for me to do. But as time goes on, I probably will maybe travel a little less, write a little more, but still keep active in sharing my own experiences that might be helpful for someone else. If I can be an ongoing mentor still for you and everyone else, that's just my life's dream economically and personally.
Yeah. So in the end, Mr. Rohn, is what do you most want to be remembered for? I mean, I think that's the pivotal question that people should ask when they're 12, 25, 50, and 75 is, what do you want to be remembered for? What's that one or two thing that
I think beyond my own life as an entrepreneur in terms of economics was I'd like to be remembered for that he was willing not only to do it and bless his own life, but to share it with the people he came in contact with. And I think that would be a good ongoing memory for me, willing to share what he learned to bless the lives of others.
Fantastic. Well, again, Mr. Rohn, it has truly been an honor to share this time and the time over the last 15 years with you in the car and in the classes and seminars. So I, again, want to thank you. And for those listening, maybe this conversation, an idea, thought, an insight shared during this discussion will be that pivotal personal development moment for you. What a special day this will indeed be then for you. Also, as you've heard, I do highly recommend getting a copy of Challenge to Succeed for yourself. It truly could be life-changing, if I do say so myself, and I do. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Success Magazine Audio, copyright Success Media, all rights reserved.